Well, guys, we're so glad to have you here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about this. Well, I guess since last was on your podcast, kid. That's been a while, right?
It's been
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Let's go. How you feeling, T?
Good.
It feels nostalgic almost, right? Another group of 4 men on the show. Oh, man. Better watch out.
Notice he didn't say 4 young men. What? I don't know why.
Well, because I'm the old
we,
guy.
we do this quite often.
Okay.
We do this.
I think I got the most gray. No, well, yeah. Let's begin. Why don't we start by just kind of introducing yourself, and maybe tell us a little bit about and don't feel rushed, but what led you to Wraparound? How did it impact your world? And we'll take our time and let's go.
Don't feel rough. We got like
Don't
15
feel
minutes.
rushed. I know.
So you want to talk
please,
first? Ken?
Dave.
Introduce
please.
yourself.
Well, my name is Dave Timpanaro. I have a PhD in multidisciplinary human services, and what I do with that is, when I first got that degree, I got in my master's. I was originally going for mental health counseling, and when I took a break for about a year, when I came back, all the credits were obsolete. So I was like, well, I'm not redoing 4 courses. Let's find me a major within this field that's going to keep me there. It's going to keep these credits. So that's how it wound up being multidisciplinary practice. But the ironic part of it, or coincidental part of it, is that it's really multidisciplinary human services. I found out is just a real fancy way of saying wraparound.
Yeah.
And by this time, I'd already been in the wraparound field for, I think I've been doing this since 2002. So 23, 24 years. And so at this time, I'd already been doing it for over a decade. And so by the time I finished, I went through, and my PhD I got mainly on accident because I didn't want to pay my student loans. So I figured keep
going.
Yeah, in school forbearance. Think I could stretch it out till I die. Yeah. Turns out they put a time limit on it. I had to graduate, but what I do is I own and operate an agency called Step Up Family Services, and after I want to say it was about 16 years, 17 years in the field, I have touched every part of wraparound. Working with children in the system of care in New Jersey, what we do is we call them behavioral assistants.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bachelor's level position. You're basically assisting the therapist and teaching them anger management skills, kind of being not a friend, but someone they can confide in without being a therapist.
Yeah.
Moved on and progressed through the career, but after so long, I realized what I wanted to do is get in this field because I wanted to work with kids like me.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole purpose of why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to work with kids like me the way that I know how is to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. And so starting this agency for me was scary as hell.
Yeah.
But it was a sense of relief because I knew I could do it my way. I could work with children the way that I wanted to work with children and families. But since then, we've expanded and we incorporate this wraparound model into areas where wraparound doesn't really exist, right? Because when we do in home it already exists in home, right? We're already working with children and families. We work with care, what we call in New Jersey care managers that are the facilitator, and they pull the system around these children and families. But we also, in my agency, we have outpatient services, and we do ABA services, both in home but also in a center.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pull those services together, there's really no facilitator. There's nobody there other than, say, the BCBA, who's the board certified behavior analyst, who's basically running the plan.
Right.
But there's nobody pulling the teachers, the school social workers, maybe the psychologist,
Maybe
or
the parents,
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Parent support, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The whole goal of wraparound, right? Our job is to work ourselves out of a job.
Right.
And that's at the core front of what we do, but you got to do it the right way. And that's what we try to teach at our agency and with the kids and the family and really all the clients we work with. We work with all ages.
Let's go. Awesome. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
I'm
it.
sure we're going to hear a lot more and dive into it.
I appreciate it.
Ken, why don't you tell us who you are?
I'm so proud. What a person to follow. I'm Ken McGill, and it really is a great opportunity to be here in the chat because what Dave was just mentioning, also from New Jersey, and my journey was actually in the private sector. So as a marriage and family therapist and a clinical fellow for too many years, and I'd like to admit, I actually came across that I was doing wraparound from someone who wasn't necessarily directly connected with wraparound, Dr. Nancy Boyd Franklin. I was at a conference and she shared how it's really important to get to know a family is to go into their home and do in-home work. Wow, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
And so she shares about culture and gender and race and all. How do you get to know someone?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. So I brought it back to the agency I worked with and the psychiatrist one and said, we really should model after this. And the answer was kind of great. No, not at all. So it turned out that stars lined up. And like Dave was saying, New Jersey has a system of care that's for all children and family, ages 5 up to age 21. And the rollout was happening. And a friend of mine started working at the contract assistant administrator and said, Ken, you're not going to believe this. One number to call. One number. Families can call themselves. Didn't matter where you lived. It was based upon needs, what services you received. All about wraparound, child fit, and then wraparound was the word I heard. All right, interesting. So I said, you know what, let me learn some more. And I moved over, hit the button. Everyone told me, you're going the wrong direction. So in public, you go to private sector. You're going from private work to public? I'm like, well, I always wanted to do things uniquely and to do things that mattered. And so that's where I started. And I help with the implementation in the northern part of our state. So learning about Medicaid, learning about care management organizations, IIC, intensive and community services that involved all the different levels, family support organizations, mobile response, great. And I brought it out to the people. And I found out early on, people don't like change.
Yeah.
So here I was like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Good thing.
Right.
So that's my story, and so connecting with Dave a long time in my 2 decades time, and seeing that the work can get done in a way that I've only imagined, and to the depth of listening to the families, serving the families, wraparound, values and principles.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's embedded. It's part of our DNA.
Becomes who you are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know the story of how we connected?
Why don't you tell me?
Yeah.
Now, or is that a story for now or later?
Yeah, no, it's
Right, Tracy?
yeah. It's a story for karaoke night. Yeah, no, actually, so getting my PhD, I finished my PhD in October of 2020. But through the process, I'm looking for all this information. And on my topic was, what is it like for professionals working with emerging adults? Emerging adults is described in the literature I found as young adults between the ages of 17 through 21 that are potentially in and out of the juvenile detention system. In looking for all that information, I couldn't find a lot of literature on anything except for, fidelity, and strength and needs assessments and showing things like that. I couldn't find anything specific until I started, and I kept researching the term wraparound, different ways of functioning and how it's used. The name that kept coming up is Kenneth McGill. In all of the resources, all throughout all the things, and I recognized the name, and I couldn't remember why. It's because when I first got in this field, Ken's name was everywhere. It was everywhere. We had to take as a
like the plague. I was almost like
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, wait a minute.
So like I had to take a strength and needs test every year to recertify. All right, and. Well, it's not a strength. What is it called?
The cans.
The
now.
cans, yeah. Strength and needs, yeah. But
We gotta make sure we talk about that and the integration and wraparound.
Okay.
Got you.
But long story short, so his name was on there, and he was one of the trainers. And when I would fail, I would have to email Ken to set my password. Right?
You didn't fail. You just got below the surface.
Get some feedback.
That's
a
coaching
moment.
100%. But so bring it back full circle. When I was doing my dissertation, I didn't post about it much or anything when I got my PhD.
Yeah.
Just a few months ago, I actually added a little blurb on my dissertation, and I tagged Ken in it. And a mutual friend of ours suggested that I sign up and be part of his conference. And Ken messaged me, and I was like,
here we are.
Holy crap. He was like a rock star. I was like starstruck by it.
That's start to finish.
Yeah, you'd think he wrote my dissertation. You might have found that cited,
It's on record now. There's no plagiarism. He wrote it.
AI is listening.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's a cool story.
Great. I love that story.
We love to hear those kinds of stories.
Oh, man.
What, Tracy? I'm sure this is you. I can just see you smiling over there.
No, I mean I'm loving to hear the connection and the understanding and just the history of kind of what that looks like for. We work with some folks in New Jersey, and when we got introduced to them, hearing the history of all the things they've done, and now knowing that you and doing some of that and continuing to do it, I think that's awesome.
And there were a lot of great people. I just happened to be associated with great
Of
people.
course.
Right.
Therefore, I got
Awesome.
the acting pass.
Perfect time, perfect place.
It was wonderful. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. It was a
Well, and
great
that's
time.
well, shout out the Rutgers team, right? Like
Oh,
Jessica, and there's some powerful
Karen
people.
Ray. Oh, yes.
Yeah, Karen.
Karen.
Oh,
I
She-
can't wait for their workshop.
She and I took over, in addition to the cans or the strength and needs. Shauna Hayes was the trainer at the time, and she had moved on. So Karen and I took over Wraparound, and so we connected, Wraparound Child Family Team and the use of the care plans using strength and needs, and it was all the stars lined up, and it was great. So there is a good shout out to
Yeah.
great group of
Oh, there's so
people.
many.
There's
good shout-outs.
there's yeah.
Let's talk about this long. Okay, can I pick on us for being kind of old timers for a second?
Can you
Oh.
say seasoned? Oh,
Okay.
Seasoned,
Back seasons.
that's great.
Because old time I resemble them.
I appreciate that. We're not old timers. We're seasoned. Very well.
Seasoned very well.
Very. Oh, wait a minute. I'm making it worse. Oh,
I
okay.
love it.
Back over here on planet.
I
I want to thinking about the longevity and the journey, and you guys have been hanging in this wraparound for a long time, experienced changes and systemic changes. I mean, COVID and how we respond, bringing I think bringing kids out of institutions and back home, and people like, how are we gonna do this? What are some of your major themes? And I know I'm looking at you, Ken, my friend, but what are that one or two
Yeah, they came right to my head as soon as you said that with a person, a face, and so Elizabeth Manley was our Children's System of Care director, commissioner, and so in terms of the goal is to keep children home, in school, and safe in their community. So that was the mantra. So moving towards ensuring that any child or youth that's involved with child welfare and juvenile justice receive the same. So while they went through the court system, family court, not
Yeah.
family court, they were able to do a 14 day
14-day
conversion
plan, yeah.
and connect with people who were doing work in wraparound, keeping them out of the
Yeah.
detention center.
Right.
But also, Dave, I know, is going to talk
Meeting their
about
needs.
absolutely, and those who are
Yep.
in detention, let's begin to lower that number. And I'll leave Dave, close the detention centers so we don't have to do that.
100%.
I mean,
Right.
so that's what first pops
That's
in.
beautiful. I'm just letting that marinate for a second.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, closing them.
Think about when people are meeting their needs from maladaptive interventions. If communities were there to meet those needs.
Restorative practices.
Yeah,
Not-
right.
There it is.
Not punishment.
There
Yeah.
it is.
People have been punished enough by failures of systems, shortcomings. No more.
Mm-mm.
No more.
Dropping some knowledge here, Billy.
I'm repeating what a lot of smart
Yeah,
people
come
told
on.
me. I'm just,
Yeah.
Right? I say I don't have one original idea. I hang out with a lot of cool people.
and I share that.
Ah,
I
that's how you do it, though.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I love the shirt.
Thanks. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that, David? Tell us about youth or young people or transition aged adults, right? That end
Yeah.
up in situations that get
Yeah.
them. What's the ingredient for keeping them in community?
Yeah. So you just said that you don't have an original idea. You just hang out with cool people. The original, as soon as you said that, I said, yeah, that's kind of how I fake it till I make it.
Yeah.
Is I just keep the right people around me because they cover my blind spots. You can't be everything for everyone.
Their
You just
culture,
can't. Yeah.
their spheres of influence.
100%. You can't. Everybody's got blind spots. I can't see my hands right now.
Yeah.
Right. You guys can. So you got to tell me they're there.
Yeah.
They're there. So that's a big part of it, is making sure you have the right team. But the biggest thing I've seen is actually buying into the system of care. So when I was in the field doing in-home services, it was, I was bought in, right? I didn't really fully understand it, right? I was part of a team, right? But when
Correct.
I transitioned, I became what's called a care manager. I was a facilitator.
Right.
I was trained in wraparound. I eventually became a wraparound trainer, but I bought into it.
Correct.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that were around us that don't actually buy into it. They got to pay the bills like anybody else.
Yeah.
But buying into it is by far the best thing you could do, because not for nothing, the kids we work with could see right through it.
Yeah.
They could see if you're not bought into it.
Yeah.
And I believed it. I believe that this is how to do it. you know, in New Jersey, the wraparound, and I put this in my dissertation as well, the wraparound model is directly correlated and responsible for closing down 5 juvenile detention centers in the state of New Jersey.
Hang on, you got to say that.
Yeah.
Because we know this.
Yeah,
We know that prisons have not been built because of wraparound.
that's correct.
Say what you said again one more time.
Yeah. The wraparound model is directly correlated and responsible for closing 5 juvenile detention centers in the state of New Jersey.
Let's go.
You know, and without buy-in, you can't have that.
Yeah.
You know.
And and I love what you say when you talk about that buy-in, because and going back to what you're saying is our families, our kids, they do know. They know if you're being authentic, they know if you're being intentional, they know. And if you're not, it really is a waste of your time and theirs. Right? And so we're just gonna run through these processes because we have to. Right, checking boxes. That's not going to help any of us. It's going to waste money, time, and we're going to end up right back where we are, or even worse.
Yeah.
So I
Oh
love
my gosh,
the
yeah.
point of really having bought in system partners, community partners, and others.
Yeah.
And I love that you're saying that that's somehow part of that secret sauce. It is. It's true.
Yeah.
Everybody doing it, not just kids. This is where it starts, though. If I'm the person bringing it to you.
I can't believe I'm sitting next to Dr. Lula. I got to tell you right now, I'm trying not to get nervous and doing the I'm just really glad. And just exactly how you said, that's why, you talk about, well, this is what I did. I did what I learned and I wanted to do and make a difference. And this is,
It's cool, right?
yeah. And my birthday's in August. I don't need anything. So it's on record now. My daughter said my son will not purchase me. I don't need it. I really don't. I really don't.
Yeah, well, like Tracy, your flowers. Tracy helped scale the CARES model, and has been around with our team, the only one, right, since the beginning. And one of the things I appreciate what you said was not just that the youth, they also know what they need in order to not end up in those places, right? And so if you, instead of punitizing the child for a maladaptive response, if we ask them what they need and they say, I need protection, because if I'm getting beat up every time I go to the streets, I'm going to get a gun, right? I need protection. I need care. I need community. I need homeboys that got my back. And if we can meet that need, we can do what? We can get rid of that gun thing. We don't need that no more. Because you got the big homie. He's over there. And most of the guys are scared of me anyways, because he's a mentor now, right? And don't take no BS. Wonderful. What do you think you can?
Now that is powerful. And that CARES, that is such a powerful evidence-based approach to where we talk about restorative practices. We talk about not being safe in the community. What about not being safe in school?
Yeah.
We still have kids being bullied and their voices are not being heard, being brought here in this state where we are now in beautiful Florida, but beyond.
Yeah.
So folks here in New Jersey, California, the list went on, North Carolina, I met them, Alaska's here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So CARES.
Yeah.
And then
It's
the
crazy.
keynote. So this is kind of a quick plug for anyone who's thinking about a conference or want to reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out, because this conference is truly
Thank you, brother.
amazing, life-changing, even for someone who's more seasoned, well-seasoned. Because Derek's was one of was
Yeah.
So I will not use the phrase at risk anymore.
Never
I
again, right?
promise.
Yeah,
I
Derek's team
promise.
killed it.
Yeah.
I promise.
I love it. Yeah. Definitely.
And our family.
Yes.
To me, it's our family.
Yeah.
How you believe in your family? Even all my family. Even
Yeah. Going hard for them every time. All the way.
I like to use a phrase called fail forward.
Yeah.
That's how I run my agency. It's how I work with the kids. It's all right to fail.
Yeah.
Learn, fail forward. Move on. Yeah.
What do you? So you mentioned one like a slogan of yours, right? But thinking about your wraparound journey, right?
Yeah.
And being in the different roles and being a trainer, right? We share so much, and so nice to be in this kind of company. What? Give me one more, maybe like in your journey, what's been like something you had to learn or something you were impacted by, or give me something, one more.
I'll tell you what. I worked with a lot of different populations.
Yeah.
Real tough to work with populations. Tough
Sure,
to work with populations
sure.
that a lot of other
Extremely at promise.
extremely effort. Well, I say tough because
I'm just
no.
sorry.
I get it, and I say tough because when you have these providers that don't recognize their blind spots or don't understand, it's tough for them to get over their hurdles.
Right. They
Right,
only
if
see
that makes
behaviors,
sense.
they don't see needs.
That's it. And I've worked listen, I talked about it in my presentation. I worked with a girl. She was, I remember how old she was when I started working. She might have been 14, but she was addicted to heroin when she was 12.
Yeah.
And we still keep in touch today, and not frequently, but enough.
Sure.
And she's
Natural support now.
yeah, she's a nurse now,
Wow.
and she works with the population in substance abuse.
Wow.
But one of the hardest things I will tell you I had to kind of get over and work with is there's a population of you know children out there that have had sexually abusive behaviors against other children, younger, same age, whatever the case may be, and that's a really interesting population to work with because you have to learn to
Right.
put aside your own belief
Correct.
system.
Cultural competency is cool. Is
100%.
paramount.
And I worked with this one, more than one, but this one kid in particular. He was older by the time I started working with him. He had gone through, gosh, man, I have to say I was probably his seventh care manager to work with him through this time. He was in residential for
Yeah.
I don't know how many years before that. And the goal of Wraparound is least restrictive environment.
Right.
It doesn't matter if the parents are nervous or scared.
Sure.
They too have to
What's
buy
it
in
going
and
to take
learn.
to meet their needs?
Yeah.
Too?
And I live with the grandparents. But long story short, he when he was older and he finally came out of residential, I want to say he was 20. I worked with him for several years. He went into like his own apartment. It was part of the program to say, okay, we're going to get you on your feet,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. He said to me, he said, Dave, there's nobody in all the years that has ever treated me like a person.
Yeah.
And
Respect.
that,
Voice.
yeah, and that hit me. That hit me hard because that was my goal. My goal wasn't for me to feel comfortable. My goal was for him to get through whatever was challenging him to act on those things and understand, So that's kind of what I worked on. That was impactful. That's
Yeah.
a big thing I had to
Yeah.
jump and get over.
People say they love hearing these kind of stories on the show. That makes it
Yeah.
meaningful, right?
Sure.
Makes it real.
Yeah.
What else do we want to say? Anything you want to ask him, Tracy?
Well, a lot of great points and a lot of knowledge and wisdom here, and being shared, and it's really been appreciated. You guys have done some great work, continuing to do great work. What did one of the ladies just say? Living, um, living, living expertise. What is it? What is she saying? Living through it.
Yeah.
But like it's not done. Like we're continuing to do it every day.
Living
Yeah.
experience.
Living experience. Right?
Yeah.
It's
Like
continuing to live
it's not over.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
We live it every day.
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially those who've gone before us.
Mhm.
It made me think of when you were sharing, Dave, and all the things you said here, that group in Monmouth County, New Jersey, Monmouth Cares. What a great care management organization's name. And so Kathy Collins just retired as their executive director. Kathy Sugden was my counterpart when I was the clinical director for the Passaic County CMO, Care Management Organization. And Rick Dill, who still works at the Monmouth Cares, he and I caught up and had a chat and talked about things that happened at Promise for the At Promise youth. The out of the box thinking, the box was recycled.
Yeah.
And they have something called Dream Camp. Dream Camp is around making their dreams come, not our dreams, their dreams come true. That actually was something where a care manager was connected somehow to the Steve. So Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs. Well, Steve Wozniak was approached and said, let's create something, but I'll work with the youth that maybe the systems have given up on. And it was Camp was created. This is out. You can YouTube
Yeah.
it.
Check that out.
Notice I say YouTube it. I'm not tech savvy, but Dream Camp is still happening at Monmouth Cares.
Wow.
Dream
Ken, you are super
Yeah.
tech savvy,
thank you.
especially beyond maybe the hard, like
Yes.
real phones, cell phones.
So thank you,
ta-
my granddaughter.
You taught me about photo voice.
Oh,
You taught me about all this like this technology
Oh.
you're talking about right
Yeah.
now. Dream Camp.
yes.
That's technology. And why don't you tell us a little bit about some of those? Because I know you've had the privilege of learning a lot from people. Tell us about some of the things like we should look up online
Wow.
related to rap practice.
Well, then a word of props or appreciation to Dr. Margaret McGladdery. Went to a TCOM conference in Kentucky and heard her speak about photo voice, brand new, using photographs. And when I was sitting there, I couldn't keep my excitement down. So while she's presenting, she's like, "I think someone in this side of the room has youth voice. Youth voice.
Yes.
A
Yes.
photograph is worth 1,000 words" was the name of
Mm.
this presentation. So I took a deeper dive in what Photo Voice was. I had the conversation with Jerome Scriptunas, who's the founder of Youth Time Banking,
Yeah.
connected
We're
market.
gonna talk about that too.
Oh, absolutely. And so these are nonprofits. These are people who want to provide and give and share wraparound.
Yeah.
Wraparound.
Community.
So from a conversation, from a attending a TCOM conference session, and then bringing it back, connecting two people, and using time as the currency. It's in Ocean County, New Jersey. There was a project by the Family Support Organization of Ocean County Youth Partnership, and get this, that Jerome took it where we were working in Kasubi, Uganda, and this amazing person, Denise, who's now one of the leaders, the youth who is now this young adult,
Wow.
and what she's doing, and taking it and creating a youth center, piece of property, and building literally from the ground up, so that youth have a voice, but also have the ability to do things.
Wow. I'm thinking about like
That's great.
Snapchat, right? And some of this
I've
and
heard
how kids
Yeah.
I know, right? But my kids all day long.
I do it.
Yes.
But now imagine I'm snapping my strengths and it's going to the team.
Oh,
And now I'm
yes.
snapping my culture. Hey, y'all want to know my culture? Here's my shoes. Here's my. This is why I wear a V.
Yeah.
Imagine the impact. What about this? That worker, did a blah 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 photo voice. I can take a picture. They sent me this letter 4 days
Yes.
late. Look, here's the thing. Imagine the advocacy and the power. Youth time banking was the other thing you mentioned. I want to make
Yes.
sure that our listeners heard that. So photo voice and youth time banking.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, because my brain just doesn't understand what youth time banking is.
Well, time banking has been around for a while. It's time as currency. Dr. Edgar Kahn, who is this amazing person who had to leave us, but the work is still being done by Christine Gray and so
Yeah.
many others, where time is the currency. Everyone has time, right? And being able to share that. So it's not the worth based upon dollars and cents.
Mm.
So he wrote this amazing book, No More Throwaway People. I read it. It was life changing, like Wraparound was.
Yeah.
And everyone should be involved.
Mm.
If we reach out to them, get them
Right.
involved.
Let them know how to
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
And so Youth
Organize.
Time Banking, we applied it. Jerome Scriptuna is the founder of Youth Time Banking in New Jersey, but it's not New Jersey, and it's everywhere.
Wow.
And being able to present on that, being the conduit for photo voice,
Yeah.
but also Youth Time Banking,
Yeah.
it's something that we can all do. And so time is that most valuable
This
commodity,
is beautiful.
and share it. And
And
youth are-
reciprocity.
reciprocity. Oh my gosh, co-production.
Mentorship that might occur
Absolutely.
during. Yeah.
Absolutely. So youth
Leveraging
are
what we have and
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
being able-
yes.
I love that. Yeah.
Yes, and
Wow.
youth are assets, resources, and energy is the viewpoint. We really, when we empower youth, we talk about empowering, being innovative, youth
Oh, yeah.
are.
So instead of saying seasoned, what would we call youth? Like, I don't want to disrespect the youth. Well, I'm just
Youth are.
I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Youth are. In my heart, youth are assets, resources, and energy. I'm a former youth
Ooh.
because that's
Assets,
resources, energy.
Wow, I think we just got a title for our podcast.
Oh,
T, why don't we
Oh.
start setting them down? What do you think?
Oh.
Again, this has just been really great. We could do this all day.
All
I-
day.
I
Yeah.
see why your last one was an hour. Was it?
Told you.
I could see.
I have
So this
so
is
many
great.
things I'd
Yeah.
love to, because
Yeah.
the knowledge and everything. So I encourage everyone, come to this conference, reach
yeah.
out, even before the conference,
Yeah.
next year's conference. Talk to you all, find out, how can I learn? What can I learn?
Yeah.
What's the next steps?
Yeah.
Ken, Dave, you guys have been great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys doing
Thank you.
being
Appreciate
here
it.
with us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been great. Clap it up. Let's go.
Thank you.